Good evening, everybody. Actually, it's not evening for us. We are here Wednesday afternoon recording this one because I am unavailable Friday night at the regular show time. So we are pre-recording this one for you guys so that you don't miss an episode this week. I want to start by saying anybody in the beard community is probably familiar with who Tony Johnson is. We call him Shooter. He calls himself Shooter. And if you haven't seen the post, he has a diagnosis of cancer, and there's a small fundraiser going on for him. So if anybody has the willingness to want to help out, please look up Scott Turner on Facebook. He's doing a patch fundraiser. And I'm going to take a look. I want to see if there's a way I can add a picture. I don't know if there is. I'm not going to mess around with it. I'll add it up on the Facebook page. You'll all be able to find it. But please look up Scott Turner. Find the fundraiser for Shooter. It's only $15 for a cool patch to benefit Tony. And let's help this guy out. He's been in the bearding community a long time. Let's see. Next weekend, Cyan Beard and Mustache Competition. Second one, Saturday, March 1st in Dayton, Ohio. If you're in the area, please come on by, check it out. It is part of a larger event called the Cyan Tattoo Invitational, which is 3 days long. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, same location. But please come on down, check those two out. As always, the beard and mustache competition is raising money for charity, just like most of these events do. And this one is for an organization called For the Love of Children. They service a lot of children in the local Dayton, Ohio area. They've got a ton of different programs. Great looking organization. Proud to be a part of it. I'll be happy to be there. So if you're in the area, come on down, check it out. Let's raise some money for a good cause. So in the spirit of raising money for a good cause, my first beard competition was in West Virginia last year, called the Appalachian Bearded Feud, put on by Chris Hall. And when I was down there, I had the pleasure of meeting the guest that we're going to have today. His name is Allister Stolas. So I'm going to bring him on, and we're going to have a little talk about his mental health journey through this world. So here we go. Allister, brother, welcome.
What's up, brother?
What's going on? Good to see you again.
Good to see you as well, man. To be honest, I met a lot of bearded fellers there, last year, and I remember you and Doc, of course,
Yes, sir.
and
Yeah.
both of you guys. We had some pretty good conversations. I do remember that. That was actually the last night that I wanted to drink. I tried to quit drinking for about 6 months after that, and I had a drink with all of y'all and everything, and I still try to stay on the straight and narrow with staying away from whiskey and stuff. It's not a good thing for me. But that was a great time, man. That was a random thing for me. I had no clue that I was going to even really what I was going to be doing. My buddy Matt Hatfield just dragged me along, said these guys are going to love you. Come on out. Made some great friends out of that, and now I'm going to be doing it again this year with Matt Hatfield and John Brandt and John Castle. So we're going to have 4 musicians out there this summer having a good old time all day long for both days.
Excellent. I look forward to seeing you guys play again.
Yeah. So explain myself. All right.
Yes. Floor is yours.
So my name is Allister Stolas. Obviously, I'm a traveling singer-songwriter based outside of Clarksburg, West Virginia. For the past 2 years almost, come June, it'll be 2 years. I've been on the road traveling all across the country. I've been all the way up to New England. That was my first trip. I'm currently in Florida, sitting in my car. I'm staying with a friend, but he's just outside of service, so I had to drive in to get some service. But I'm currently down here in Florida, supposed to wedge my way into some of these places down here to be able to play Bike Week. They don't a lot of these places say they don't have acoustic musicians, but they haven't heard me yet. So that's the way that I like to look at it. I sing with a lot of passion because it's been my entire life. I grew up in a music family. My grandma was queen of country music in Cleveland, Ohio, in 1968, and my uncle was a songwriter for Cleveland International Records, and I kind of got it honest. And then 2 years ago, uh, my ex and I had we had a miscarriage, and then right after that, a couple of months later, it just kind of fell apart. And we were together for 14 years, and she left, and I broke. So I hit the road, and I haven't looked back since. In a way, I've been meeting folks all over this country that help me continue on my journey, because when I think that I'm not doing enough, they assure me that I'm doing more than I think that I am, just by making the posts that I do, and by going out of my way, in a way, to experience life. Like, a lot of people, they're real comfortable staying at home, which is fine, but I always had that wanderlust in me, and now I don't have anybody to, that relies on me or anything like that. It's just me, and I've never really been just me. So now I just I live out every impulse. I travel the world or country so far. I'm planning on going to the world. I can't wait to get to travel Europe and stuff. A lot of people tell me I ought to, but through my music and everything, I've been able to have a smile on my face now. I don't know how much is okay to talk about on here, but
you can say anything you like on here.
Okay, cool. Not just music, but microdosing on psilocybin for sure has changed my outlook on life. I'm a very depressed person. Whenever I was a teenager, I tried to commit suicide, and I was diagnosed manic depressive and suicidal tendencies and bipolar. And I got some friends that think that they have the diagnosis wrong, and I need to go get checked again, which I probably do. But I've spent my entire life fighting with that, on top of being ADHD and having to, try to navigate my way through life with everything firing in my head at the same time, trying to take those bits and pieces that I need and using those to move through life. My brain's always firing on all synapses, is the way I like to put it. But having to deal with all of that, once I found psilocybin, it was always, people eat mushrooms and trip and all of that, but it's more than that. It's something that kind of, for me, and I can't help but smile whenever I'm, on my course of microdosing and stuff like that. And for months later, I mean, it completely affects the way that I view things, the way that I react to things and everything, because I've always heard that's the most important thing. It's not the fact that it happened, it's how you react to how it happened. And the more that I'm realizing that a calmer, more thought out reaction is a better one. Somehow I've been able to straighten myself out finally, somewhat, at 30 some years old in life. But I tell you, man, it's been one heck of a journey. I've slept out of my car most of the time. I've been all the way out to California off of $240 in my pocket, and that's it. There's a lot of times I'll go close to a week without eating, just because I'm just in an area where I don't know anybody and I'm not making any money or anything. And all I do to make money is go out and play on the street, outside of grocery stores and gas stations and stuff like that. And I'll try to find people that need some work here and there. labor work or anything I can do. I make jewelry and try to sell it that way. I'm an entrepreneur in all senses there, and I I just decided a while back, 2 years ago, that I was done making money for other people. I was done living for other people. And it's time to live for me. And
Right.
that all of that combined is honestly what's really helped my mental health. I don't have my guitar here. I didn't know if you were planning on me singing anything, but I have a few songs that specifically um, dip into mental health. I
Mhm.
think Chris might have sent you a video. That song "Tied a Knot" was one that I wrote instead of killing myself. I mean,
Mhm.
it's a deep thing. I played it for a feller outside of a bar in Virginia, and I completely moved this man that basically acted like he wasn't an emotional type of person. His wife worked in mental health and everything, and she was moved by it. And but the fact that I moved him, it really got me. And there's been a lot of other guys that'll come up to me and hear songs about how I felt whenever my ex-wife left and stuff like that. Because I wasn't necessarily bitter; I was more broken than anything.
Mhm.
And they'll come up to me with tears in their eyes, and they'll say things, like, I'm a man, but I'm crying because, and it's just like, it's all right that you're crying, brother. I'm glad that you are, because you're tapping into something that you've been refusing to tap into, because society tells us that it's not okay to feel as men. And I
And,
get
and
to
there's the root of a large problem in this country is
it is.
men's mental health is so overlooked because of the masculine stigma that people feel they have to maintain. And I think that's a big obstacle for a lot of people that I've talked to about getting whatever level of help they need, is because they're afraid to show a weaker side.
You're right. And it's not a weaker side by any means. Anybody that could talk about their feelings, in my opinion, and it isn't just because that I do it, but I believe that they're the stronger person. Um,
Mhm.
Through my travels, I've got to meet a lot of different spiritual folks from all walks of life, and spiritual leaders and all of that. And these men are the type that realize that it's not just, holding everything in and talking to your God or whatever. You've got to talk to each other. You've got to have community. You've got to have, there's other people that felt the same way that you did. And if you talk
Right.
to your buddy and you realize, holy crap, my buddy has been going through this same thing the entire time. Like, I mean, it's awkward, if I'm being honest. When, like, at first, for me, going out to bars and stuff like that, and guys would connect with me just because of recent divorce or recent split and
Mhm.
stuff like that. But some of those guys have become my good friends. And it wasn't like we were sitting around hating on our exes or anything like that. We were talking about our true feelings. Like, we were
Mhm.
crying. And I I have a way of helping people feel comfortable with those emotions through music and everything.
Mhm.
And because, I mean, you can't control what you feel whenever you listen to music.
Correct.
It's one of those things. I like to view it as alchemy, because I'm taking the vibrations that exist within music and the frequency that exists within music, and I'm using myself as a conduit, expelling that to you. And as long as you're receiving it, you're going to match that same frequency, that same vibration, which is me transmutating. I'm crazy, I know, but transmutating the vibrations and everything into what you should be feeling, what that song's conveying. Because music's more than just beats and notes
Mhm.
and theory. It's feeling, and
Mhm.
that's why it's so healing to me, is because I use my feelings And somebody said recently that singing with your feelings is sometimes exhausting, but also exhilarating. And I retorted with, it's always exhausting and exhilarating. Because if you're playing with all of your feeling and all of your soul, you're going to be exhausted by the end of it because you expelled so much that everybody else received. And
Mhm.
it's a crazy, humbling, unique feeling that I've never felt in any other walk of life that I've had plenty. I don't know
So,
what to talk about. I ramble.
no, you're doing great. So, as you stated, many people use music as an outlet to cope and deal with things they've dealt with in life. And on the reciprocal side of that, a lot of people use music as a recipient. They listen to music, whereas you produce. So let's go back to the song "Tie the Knot," and I will link to this in the show notes for everybody so they can listen to it as well.
Yeah.
Um, I'm assuming, and you mentioned it was suicide oriented. I assuming the name is referring to a noose
Oh, for
indirectly.
sure.
So
Yeah,
suicide
and
plays a part in my life because my daughter has attempted a few times. So tell us what the story behind the song or the meaning of the song itself is.
yeah. So I'm a poet, so I'm going to try to find cheeky ways to say things and all of that. And I'm one of those kind of guys that, as you can tell, kind of just thinks if it should be talked about, you just talk about it.
Mhm,
So tied a knot, the whole concept came from, if I were to ever do it, that was the way that I've always thought about doing it.
mhm,
And it's when I was a teenager, my buddies taught me how to tie a noose and everything like that, which probably was a terrible thing. You know, I mean, because it's been a thought in my head the entire time. And it was the thought, the course says, so I found a rope and I tied a knot. I'm going to find out if it's strong enough to get rid of all my sadness and my pain.
mhm,
And it's pretty blunt on the nose, you know, but it's sung in a slightly happy melody, which is confusing to the mind because you know you hear this happy melody happening behind it and these very depressing lyrics about how the second verse says that I've walked these woods my entire life and I know a good spot where I could toss that rope real high, and that's the that's the truth. I know those woods like the back of my hand. I've walked them my entire life and I know I've plotted out things, you know, as one would do. But at the end of the course, it says the only reason that I haven't is because I don't want someone I love to come along and get fucked up.
mhm,
And if I'm being honest, the only thing that's truly held me here is the love that other people show me.
mhm,
It's not me. There's nothing in my life that particularly makes me want to stay alive. Um, but the impact that I have on others, just from waking up and trying to figure out what I'm going to do with my day every day, has kept me going. Uh, I got a buddy I randomly met that works at a kind of like a retirement home in a way, and he found me playing outside of a grocery store, and he gets a hold of me probably once a week, sometimes a little less now, but that man's always contacting me, calling me, messaging me, saying, "Hey brother, you keep going. You're doing a great job and you're keeping me going, man." And that one person is more than enough for me. I'm sitting here. I just got done counting change to go buy me a drink. That one person's enough for me to be out here risking everything as far as, you know, a lot of people are concerned. just because I know that the impact that I'm making on him through my songs like that, because I've
Mhm.
played that song for him, and I've played my songs about drinking for him, because I have a, I have no issue with people that drink, but people that drink in excess, I just wish that they'd look inside themselves and maybe try to figure out why they want to numb everything so much, because that's
Mhm.
what it was for me. That's the only reason I wanted to drink in excess, was to numb everything. But back to the song topic, it was literally just like tied a knot, and I was uh I was in a very bad place. It was about 2 months after my ex-wife had left me, and I didn't care what anybody said. Didn't
Mhm.
matter. Everybody was telling me everything's going to be okay, and I I've always been a hopeless romantic type. I kind of throw everything into the same basket, all my eggs into the same basket, especially with a relationship like that. We've been together for 14 years, and I was the guy that thought that it'd never end. I mean, we were perfect. Everything was
Mhm.
perfect, and then the universe stepped in and decided to give us both a shift, and it's been the worst but greatest shift of my life, because I would much rather be a father than out on the road somewhere playing music, if I'm being completely honest. But it wasn't in the cards. So I'm going to go that I had. I don't know who that is. To try as much as possible. If none of that terrible stuff would have happened in my life, I would have never seen the Grand Canyon earlier this year.
Mhm.
So, I mean, things things happen for a reason. Like it's
Yeah.
as like I said, I'm a depressed person. But I'm able to turn it into music and keep it away, and not let it dwell. And unlike a lot of great musicians that ended up with like opioid addictions or heroin addictions or stuff like that, and ended up losing themselves to the darkness, it's not a cool thing. It's really not. Like, I listen to metal, I listen to punk, I listen to all of that stuff and everything, and while it's glorified, I try not to glorify suicide or anything like that personally. I just
Mhm.
would like others to understand the struggle behind it, if that makes sense.
It makes complete sense. And like I said, as somebody who has dealt with this with my daughter, it's it's empowering for her to hear other people talk about it as well. It helps people realize that they're not alone. There's other people that deal with the same or similar situations, and to see other people go through those situations and survive and excel and live and grow from
Yeah,
them is important. It's important. And through music allows that avenue of people hearing your story as opposed to the likelihood of somebody watching, let's say, a podcast like this.
yeah.
It's a lower barrier to entry, let's say, for sharing those stories and sharing those experiences and helping those people realize there's something else after this. You just have to get there.
I think I'm not somebody that necessarily believes in like fate or anything like that. I don't think anything's predetermined necessarily, but I think some of us were born with the ability and the purpose to try to be those spokesperson, that spokesperson, to try to be
Mhm.
those people that can be the mouthpiece for those that are either too afraid or too ashamed to talk about the
Mhm.
issues and everything. And I would rather somebody sit alone in a room and cry listening to a song than the alternative to what they were going to do.
Mhm.
And some people may think that that's not enough to stop somebody from from doing it, but I'm telling you, the right message comes across at the right time. And it's one of those things where even just through the radio, a station you've never listened to before, you hear a song that you would never listen to ever, and it's speaking directly to you.
Mm-hmm.
I've had that happen. I don't know how many times. I don't listen to rap, but now I do. I love rap music. Like there's a lot. I'm serious. There's a lot of struggle, a lot of pain. There's a lot behind a lot of these guys' messages. If you can find the ones that are really trying to convey those messages. And it's no different than rock or punk or country. Country's just sad and everybody hates it. I play it, but everybody, it's just like, I don't consider myself a country musician all in the same. I like to be vast. I want to play for everybody. I want to appeal, not in the way that I'm going to be a hit record. I want to appeal in the way that I can feel this dude. Like, I I don't care about fame. I just want to meet people. I want to talk. I want to experience life. I want to taste food. I want to see sights. Like, and if getting myself out there as a musician is the only way to do it, then fine. But if I'm going to do that, I'm going to have something that means something and not just
Mm-hmm.
absent substance to throw out to the world and hope everybody dances to it. It's I'm an artist. I'm sorry.
Well, as a fan myself of the older country from the 50s and 60s, those were
Wow,
storytellers, right? And
and
I
they
love a
were, yeah.
song. You're right. I love a song that means something. It's like you said, it's not just emptiness that you're hoping somebody dances to. There's a story, there's a meaning. There are life events that happen that led to the writing of those songs.
Yeah,
And to your point, it doesn't matter if it's rock or metal or rap. That's just the one particular vehicle that that person used to get that story out there.
you're right. You're
So,
right. Exactly. It's just like painting. My ex was a painter, and man, I don't know for a fact because we never really like talked about like if she painted when she was super depressed or anything. But I kind of noticed whenever she'd be down, like and in her own head, she'd go paint beautiful pictures,
mhm,
not depressing looking stuff and all that. And I don't know if that was her way of like trying to brighten everything and all of that or
mhm,
what, but I know that when I try to write a happy song, usually it doesn't work that well. But if I need cheering up, it'll come. And I don't write
mhm,
too many happy songs. I really don't. I try to. Um, but when I do write a happy song, it's genuine. And and I do want people to dance to it, but I also want people to feel that message behind there. Usually it's an everything's going to be okay, or I've got a couple of love songs. I don't really do love songs that well, but when inspiration strikes, it strikes. And
mhm,
to me, they're the corniest songs I've written. To others, they're some of the best I've ever written because they think of their loved one and they just want to dance with them and have a good time with them. And I'm just like, I can't believe that words that came from my brain and music that I just decided to sit down and write has this kind of effect on people. All I am is some kid from a holler in the middle of nowhere, 30 minutes from the nearest store. And like I said, now I'm sitting in Florida, 30 minutes outside of Daytona. Like I can go to the beach but what? I don't have much gas, but I'll make it. Like it's I I'm loving life through my struggle.
and
Like
that's
it's
the goal everybody needs to work towards is loving
yeah,
life. Yeah.
yeah, love you've got to. You've got to love life. So I just met I met an old feller yesterday, uh 82 years old. He was shocked whenever I showed up to his house with a guitar. Uh this feller hooked me up with a little bit of smoke through a friend of mine, pot. I don't know. But and it killed me that it came from an 82-year-old man. And my buddy was like, he loves music. Go play him a song. And I'm like, hell yeah, I'll go play him a song. Like, I want to go show my appreciation and everything. Like,
Mhm.
So I go up there and I carry my guitar, and he goes, well, I want to tell you something right now. I don't like music. And I went, oh, well, oh. Like he just crushed my entire being right off the bat. And I'm like, all right,
Right. What do you
cool.
offer now?
Well, the only thing I can offer, which is the same thing that my music conveys, and it's a listening ear and all of that. As somebody because through my music, I hope people understand that I'm a listening ear as well. You know, that's
Mhm.
why I want to put that music out there. And this old man just wanted to tell stories. He let me play one
Mhm.
song. Well, I could have played more if I wanted, but I played him one song, and he goes, I don't know music. You're good. And I was like, well, thank you, sir. And I sat my guitar down and I didn't touch it the rest of the time. I left it there. And this old man enjoyed the conversation with me because he loved to say time and time again, you haven't got to talk to too many people from my generation, have you? And to be honest, I haven't.
Mhm.
And because a lot of them, they're of the mindset that he has or well, used to have, as he said. He liked to liken himself to Archie Bunker, which I don't know the show, but I guess he's some, from back in the day, one of those guys that was like Red Foreman from that '70s show, them damn hippies.
Yep.
Here I show up with a guitar, long hair, all of that, and he's just like, oh God, this damn hippie. But he literally just hooked me up with some smoke. So like, it's like you're conflicted, sir. Um, but he talked about his time living in California and all of that, and how growing up he had experiences with peyote and with psilocybin mushrooms, and how they were life changing things, and how more people need to realize the magic of those kind of things because they open you up to. I believe, and I think that he does too. I don't think he knew how to phrase it, but they open you up to this whole universal thing, this oneness together. We all just need to love each other, as hippie as it
Mhm.
sounds, but it comes through. The message is really, it comes through whenever you let yourself go to stuff like that. And like I said, I might sound like a madman talking about it, but there's science behind it. It's not just, me thinking that this is how it all works. I've actually seen some of the lectures that have been given about, the effects of microdosing psychedelics in general. And this old man, 82 years old, somebody that is from eras ago. I mean, it's hard to fathom. He's talking 30
Mhm.
years ago. I'm 33 years old. I'm like, I was 3 years old. And he would just go, wow. And like, he would just sit there and think, like, it was hard for me to fathom as well. But he's had these concepts in his head for about 30 years. And he rarely meets somebody like me
Mhm.
that will just openly talk to him about anything like that. And he said multiple times yesterday, he said, I really don't know how these kind of events keep happening in my life. Like meeting people like you, I truly don't know
Mhm.
how this type of stuff keeps happening. And it's crazy because I have those same thoughts. Like this old man, like I would have never gone up and talked to this guy if my buddy hadn't told him that he likes music, or told me, and then he doesn't like music, hates music as a matter of fact, but is still willing to sit there and have a conversation with somebody, shoot, what, 50 years younger than him. So like,
Yeah.
and he relished in it. And I know that the old man forgets easy, but I know that I also had an impact on his life just by coming in
Mhm.
and sitting there with him. And that wasn't my intention. My intention was literally to go listen to an old man tell some stories. Because as soon as I heard he was old and he liked to tell stories, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go talk to this feller. That's my thing. That's why I travel and play music and tell stories. I like to gather other people's stories. Um,
Mhm.
there's an old Norse deity named Odin, and Odin traveled all around gaining wisdom and knowledge, and he walked amongst everybody and would ask questions to the humans and stuff and figure out how they thought about things. And he might have been a god, but he was also learning from everybody else around. And Jesus did, the same thing. He took his walk amongst everybody, and Buddha did the same thing. And I kind of like saw all of these connections there, and I'm like, all right, I'll try it out.
There's been dozens of religions over eternity that have all had similar characters with similar stories, but they all carry the same message.
Yeah, that oneness, that love, that together, that compassion, and that's the thing for me. Like, I don't know if that compassion truly exists in some parts of the world anymore. Like it's inside, but they don't know how to show it. They don't know how to look out for their fellow man and stuff like that. I'm a bleeding heart though, so I feel sympathy for a lot of folks that a lot of others would instantly kick down the road, whereas I would open my door to them and give them a meal just like people do for me constantly. And that was well before this journey and everything that I've done. I've let a homeless dude come stay with me before. He was working with me and was talking about how he was at the homeless shelter. And I was like, no, man, you come stay with me. And he stayed with me for 2 or 3 months and all of that. I didn't even know the guy. And I've always been that kind of guy. When people say, yeah, you care about him, won't you take him in? I have. I've tried to help any way that I possibly can. Don't think that people like me don't exist out there, because I know there's more bleeding heart, compassionate, loving folks out there that truly care about humanity. Like I said, I care about mankind, specifically mental health of men. Like I'm a self-proclaimed, oh God, this is going to get me in trouble. I'm a self-proclaimed feminist. Personally, I truly care about women's rights. I truly care about all of that. But I also really care about men's, mental health, the way that we perceive the world, the way that toxic masculinity is a real thing. And that's the reason that I'm concerned. And it's something that is raised into us more than anything, from our surroundings, from the people that we were raised up around and stuff like that. Men don't cry. Men don't say ouch. Men don't have long hair. Men don't have tattoos or earrings and stuff, or wear fingernail polish. I love to break all of that. Like, I mean, just tell me what I'm not allowed to do. I'm not allowed to wear a dress. Oh man, there were musicians in Kentucky. I think it was Kentucky or Tennessee. One of them said no dresses on stage. Men can't wear dresses on stage, and these musicians kept going out there in dresses and stuff. Like, I mean, don't tell me what I could do. Like, this is an artistic freedom. This is me expressing who I am. And while I'm not going to wear a dress, I will wear a kilt. But if I want to, I'm going to. Like, and I'm going to show that it's okay for anybody that wants to feel this way to do the same kind of thing. Like, because we're all stuck on this rolling ball together, and it sucks. We can only make the most of the lives that we've got. Talking about that old man, the main reason I brought him up was because he left me with a couple of messages, but one of them was, figure out who you are, be proud of who you are, go to a place where you can be proud of who you are. Yes, sir. Like that type of message is the exact reason I wanted to go talk with him, because I didn't even know I was going to get that message from him. I had no clue that this guy lived out of his van for 20 years on the beaches of California, selling beer on a nude beach without a vendor's license. Like, he was doing the whole thing. He was like, they knew, but they left me alone. Like, he just ride his bicycle up and down this beach selling beer out of a cooler on the front of his bike for 20 years. And that's how he made his living out of a van. He said, I like to call myself mobile homeless. And here I am living out of my car. I mean, Literally, like that's my sleeping stuff, and all of my stuff is back there. Like I sleep right here in this seat whenever I don't have somewhere to stay, or if I'm in the national forest, I set my camp up and I stay. You're allowed 14 days in the national forest, so I'll stay in the national forest for a few days and everything. I always stay nice and clean, and I like to say I'm one of the fanciest hobos people will meet, uh, but it's by choice. Without a doubt, I have a home back in West Virginia. I just decide to be on the road and travel and be that mobile homeless guy and try to meet folks like him. Sorry,
And do what you
still good
love and
enough
make
stuff.
music
Yeah,
and affect people's lives in a positive way. And who could ask for anything more?
you're right. You're right.
Mhm.
I mean, honestly, I
Well,
can't
I want
complain.
to I want to tell you I appreciate you taking the time and going deep like you did and telling people what you've been through and how you've adjusted. I'm sure it's a positive, meaningful message for a lot of people that are going to hear this
I
to
hope so.
learn and grow from it themselves from hearing your story.
Um, if they want, they can check me out. I mainly post on Facebook. But I post my journeys. Usually every morning I'm posting some kind of good morning message and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
Allister Stolas on Facebook, the Stolas Project on TikTok and Instagram. And as soon as I get the fundage, I'll be uploading some singles to all streaming platforms. It'll be under the Stolas Project. Um, I'm looking for any gigs anywhere. I'll play in a porta potty if they pay me enough. Uh, I don't really care where it is. I love to travel, and I, I bring I bring an experience. I'm not just a musician. I I'm a whole vibe, as I've been told. But I'm not the kind of guy that just shows up and plays. I like to mingle, hang out, as I said, get to know people and all of that.
Well,
And I'd love to come play anywhere that anybody would like to have me, and just got to get
yeah,
a hold of me at any of their spots.
at the Bearded Feud, you didn't just come out for your set and then disappear and hide in a room somewhere. You were out there the whole day long. And
Yeah,
if somebody wasn't on stage, you're off to the side bullshitting with people and playing your guitar and telling stories. So
well,
a
that's what
true
it's about.
entertainer. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. And I'll make sure we put all of your contact and social in the show notes,
Cool.
plus your press kit. So everybody who wants to get in touch with you certainly will have the ability to through the show notes.
Hey, might I also say thank you for giving a platform out like this? I see that you're the co-host. I hope to meet the host someday. Um, I I think it's awesome. Like my buddy has a podcast. If you don't mind me plugging another
Please,
podcast real quick,
please do.
West Virginia Songs and Stories. It's on all streaming platforms, as far as I know, not YouTube, but Apple and Spotify and
Mhm.
all that. I'm the third episode, but listen to everybody else. I ramble, as you can tell, but he does this, but for West Virginia musicians specifically and songwriters to get their songs out there, their message out there, because we believe back home in West Virginia that we've got quite a good bit of folks like me that
Mhm.
need to be heard without a doubt. And I ain't one to take the whole pie. I want to share the pie as much as I possibly can. So West Virginia Songs and Stories, and thank you, seriously, thank you so much for giving opportunities like this to be able to tell our stories and hopefully have an impact on others.
That's all we can hope for is that it helps other people as well. So again, thank you for your time. I look forward to seeing you in June again down at Appalachian Bearded Feud. And Kyle,
Yeah.
who is the original host of the show, he's taken a little bit of a break, but he was down there last year also. You might have met
Oh,
him down
was it?
there.
I might have.
I believe, yeah, you might have, but I believe he'll be back down there in June as well. So hopefully you
Cool.
do get the chance to meet him too.
Like I said, I met a lot of you bearded fellers. There seemed to be a lot of them around there, and a few bearded ladies, and a few bearded kids, I think too. And it was it was quite an experience. I tell you, I know I'm going to share this, so anybody that's listening, just for the sake of me being on here, make it out there. Seriously, it's down in Gent at the Skyline Resort, the 6th, 7th, and 8th, if I'm thinking right. If not,
I don't remember the dates, but we'll put it in the show notes as well.
I'm pretty sure it's June 6th, 7th, and 8th though, but because I know it's my weekend of my birthday. So for my birthday, which is the 10th of June, come on out to this thing, show some support and donate, because they always donate to a good cause and everything, and that's what the whole thing's about. I got to have a really good conversation with Chris, and I've got a lot of respect that I didn't have last year, because I didn't know what was going on last year. You know, I just was there to play music. This year, I hope to make more of an impact, and like I said, I absolutely love what the bearding community does, and makes me proud to have a beard and be part of it. So,
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. I had a great time talking to you. I'm glad we got to hook up again, since we haven't spoke to each other since what's that, 8 or 9 months now. But I look forward to it again. I really do.
Me as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great day, brother.
All right. Peace.
Well, that was a deep story he really shared. A lot of personal information there. I hope everybody checks out his music, and if you're looking for somebody to play something, whether it's a birthday party or a night at a bar that you need a musician to come in and play and entertain for the night, please look him up. He's a great musician, a great guy, always willing to help. I was really happy that he was one of the people I got to meet when I was down there at that competition. That being said, I thank everybody here for taking the time and watching the show. I hope it was worthwhile to everybody, and look forward to the next episode. If anybody has any comments, please reach out to us either on the Facebook page or in the comments on YouTube. And thank you for your time. I look forward to doing it again. Take care, everybody.